Look, yeah, boy.
Every good superhero needs themes.
It's the questions.
It is time for the question. The beloved staple of IMHO Talk Show, the questions.
That's it.
Ask Max.
Ask Max. And what are we asking today? It's that time of the year. All of our littles and not so little kids are going back to school. So, of course, that's top of mind for people. We're having school nights and orientations and meet and greets and buying school supplies.
Can we slow down on that thing?
Right, all these things. all the things. And so,
serious
inevitably,
question,
yeah.
Can you stick a pin right there?
Okay.
To come back to that?
Okay.
Seriously, how do you balance this thing? And y'all chime in, parents, guardians, all that good stuff. Like, this year's been hit. And the crazy thing is like, I've had more kids in my household than I do right now, but it's like between the sports.
Right.
I feel like they adding open houses. About how many open houses? I've been to this school before. We don't need to keep coming back.
Right. And I believe there's a back to school night and an open house.
Yep.
And I'm like, all right, maybe we need both, and maybe one should be in September. I guess that makes sense to somebody.
The back to school bashes where it's just vendors and celebrating.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. I applaud y'all for wanting to keep the kids engaged and whatnot. But we got things to do. We got things to do. And if your kid plays sports,
right,
you got to add. You got like, when is the practices? And then like when you are trying to figure out your kid's class schedule, you want to meet teachers.
Right.
They say when you're a student athlete, the academics come first. Some of these coaches be getting mad though. You miss a practice.
That's right. But look, we are not new to this, Charles. You should know these tricks by now. But it does feel new every year, as I suppose it also does to our students who are going back for a new adventure, a new chapter, new grade, teachers and whatnot. But some things I have learned when you ask how do I balance it is that it's a trick. Like there is no balance. It's a trick. You stand on your head and point south and different things like that. And yeah, sometimes you just have to get it done. There are things that I'm very organized about, and then other things that I do's my best, and it all gets done. But to those of you who've got it all figured out, I commend you. And for others, it's take a breath, take a beat. It's all right. We'll get it done.
I want to commend you, Black woman, Black mother, as well as the Black fathers out there as well, taking care of business. I'm not going to digress too much, but there was a stat that I've been seeing come out from different researchers about. They've said that Black men who are involved in their children's lives actually outperform other nationalities, meaning they are reported to be more involved in their children's life, right? Meaning that whether they're like helping with bedtime, schoolwork, taking them to their activities, right? So I want to shout that out because it really does debunk the myth of deadbeat fathers or most Black men are incarcerated, and all those myths that society want us to believe so they can paint the narrative to keep us acting in manners that we otherwise wouldn't.
Right.
So shouts out to the parents, especially the single parents as well. It's hard enough when you got dual parent household.
That's right.
Right.
Say so.
So for all the single parents that's holding it down, or even if you're a parent that's with the that's with the other parent, and you still carrying the load, shout out to you too, because it ain't easy.
No, it's not.
Because I can speak from experience. When you got two splitting duties, it's still a lot.
That's right.
So if you're doing it all,
that's right.
Kudos.
That's right. Keep pushing. Yes, you can do it. We all have those days where it's like you just, and maybe I'm speaking for myself, it's like you just might as well throw up your hands because it all feels like too much at times. But you regroup. It ain't as bad as it might feel in the moment, and you keep going. And that's what I encourage all of us to do, is to keep pushing, because our kids are counting on it, right? Something does get lost if you give up. And it's literally kind of alive or lives in the balance. So, but to get back, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, honor and cherish these moments as well, because both of us, Max, I'd love to hear your feedback on this too. Like, being that we've parented through generations now, and the fact that we are the new adult. I like using that term, and what I mean by that in this conversations that I have about we're the new adults, meaning we're like the middle child, meaning that we're at the age, you and I, in our generation, of we're taking care of the elderly and we're taking care of the babies. You follow what I'm saying? Like, so we take care of the youth and we take care of that. Like, we're right there in the middle. And so, so sometimes we need to really recognize that and pat ourselves on the back. And we need to resurrect Big Mama. We ain't got big mamas no more. We need somebody to make sure we get together for dinner, for the cookouts. Everybody coming. Y'all putting them phones down. We gonna be playing volleyball. We playing. I blame cornhole, Max.
Really? Look,
we need to bring back horseshoes. When we got rid of horseshoes and started playing cornhole, that's when the families fell apart.
Bougie.
Yeah, we got bougie and the families fell apart. Kids on their phones and everybody throwing cornhole bags. We need to bring back horseshoes.
Yeah, there you go.
But definitely cherish the times, because what I was getting at, Max, I want your feedback too, is when we think about taking for granted like certain years, is something that I feel like that I've had to check myself on, and I've been granted opportunities of having multiple children to be able to try to do it different, to do it better. But like, I'm talking to the parents, don't take for granted any moment. Like, when you think the child aren't listening or isn't paying attention, they are. And you may think, this is the easy age, or like, this is the easy phase. I can take my foot off the gas, or whatever the case is. Like, there's always a lesson learned at every stage of a child's development. And like I said, even when we think they ain't listening or ain't paying attention, they are. So so just shouts out to the parents, and cherish every moment, from the time that they learning to talk to the time where they talking back.
Yeah.
You got to appreciate it. Everything in due time. They're gonna learn. In
all
their own
the phases.
Time.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. And my older set of kids are from the age of 26 to 19, 18. When you got a lot of them, you get the ages mixed up. But and so with the last set here, it's one of those things, like you said, where you think you maybe have a better handle on it. You know which things are important and which things aren't, and still it's still a job either way. But what I can tell you, I have learned, is that I don't need to be so much in control. I don't need to, because at the end of the day, the only person you're stressing out is yourself.
Say so.
Like sit down, breathe, and let them live a little and make their decisions and do things that kids would do. So, doesn't mean that you stop being a parent, but don't take it so seriously. Don't take yourself so seriously, right?
I like that.
But maybe we should get around to these questions. Maybe. And the question is, in lieu of it's being back to school season, we're thinking about our schools locally. Of course, you got all your private schools, but you got Albemarle County's school system. You got Charlottesville school system, and then those that are kind of in the urban ring around us.
What's up with them folk going back to school beginning of August?
I know.
What is we doing? Let them babies have a summer.
I'm trying to figure out who made that decision.
Let them babies have a summer.
But one of the things I think is one of the rumblings that parents are having, or at least thinking about, is are our kids okay? We're thinking about how our kids are going to do this school year. Are our kids safe this school year, considering some of the things that have happened in some of the local school systems, whether that be new changes and things the school has implemented, whether that be, just a very recent history of some criminal activity taking place in the school, and just bad choices being made by higher ups in our school systems. And, we want to feel as parents that our kids are in a safe space when they go to school, and that they're getting the best education as possible. Because of things that have taken place, a lot of us are questioning that right now, or at least very concerned about it.
You know what, Max?
Yeah.
I'm moved in my spirit to take just a quick pause, whether it's a moment of silence or just a moment of remembrance. Because we lost a few of our young people this summer. Even leading into the new school year, as you said earlier, our hearts go out to the Orange County high school community. I think about over the summer, there were stories of, young lives lost for different reasons. Like a lot of, and I think sometimes the hard part is a lot of times it's avoidable, but all it takes is just 1 second.
Right.
It just takes 1 second, one choice. So definitely want to, as we're going, back to school, want to let the families know that have been dealing with loss this summer. That our hearts are with you as well.
Of course. So yeah, how we want to kick off this conversation?
Man, I think we already did. Like I'm feeling it though. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just like, are our kids safe? To Ask Max, and y'all chime in as well. Hit us up. Are our kids safe? I mean, like, I believe they are. I'm a person of faith, belief, and hope. So I think all we gotta do is just do our best. Just be prepared and let the universe play out. Right? Like, all things happen for a reason, right? But yeah, I mean, like, we can't live in fear. Right? Can't live in fear. At the same time, got to be cautious. And we are in a highly like political time right now, even more so because now, like, everything is bleeding into the other. Where, like, people can't even have just a one-track conversation anymore. It's like somebody getting offended, or somebody's got to bring up, like, a personal belief instead of us thinking about believing in humanity. So I say all that because, especially when we just talk about the loss, that we've had. So that may be a good spot to start at. We think about Nolan Xavier Wells. We've said his name before. We're going to keep repeating the brother's name that lost his life. Nolan Xavier Wells. So you talk about kids' safety. We also got to be mindful of the company we keep. Right? And now, I don't want any of the parents to get overbearing. I don't think that'll turn out well, for as a relationship wise between you and your child. But the young people is listening to us as well. I mean, that goes for adults too.
Yeah,
the company you keep.
That's true.
When we look at that Nolan Wells case, it's like it's sad. And again, we in the year 2026, and instead of us looking at the obvious foul play, right? You remember the movie A Time to Kill? Kind of like in Time to Kill with Matthew McConaughey. I don't know if he won an Oscar for that thing or not, but Matthew should have won an Oscar for that thing. Because remember when he told the all-white jury, he said, "Now close your eyes." And he told the story, and he said, "Now imagine that child was white." Right? And I say that because we can't even look at obvious foul play and just take it for what it is.
Right.
It got to become, why black people making everything about race? What? Can you show us evidence to why we shouldn't? But again, even if you take race out of the equation, this case probably would have been solved by now. If we did if race wasn't a factor,
Right.
I should say. But whether it's a racial thing or whether it's just being smart about who you leaving your children with, it's like the company that we keep. We got to be mindful. Right. We got to be mindful.
All of those things are true. In terms of how I'm feeling about the new school year, I mean, it's good to be hopeful. Yes, I hope my kid has a great school year, but, it's one of those things where parents need to stay tapped in and trust but verify. And so, no, I can't say that I'm sending my kid out the door with wholehearted faith in the school system and the individuals responsible for educating and taking care of my kids while they're in their company. I don't, and I don't think that any of us should. And so what I would say, what I plan to do and what I encourage all parents to do is to stay tapped in as far as the kids learning, as far as things that are taking place there. You got questions, you call, you need a meeting, you ask for it. If something doesn't sit right with you, you say something. Gone are the days where you just sit back and say it'll be all right, or maybe it's not what you think, or whatever, ignoring it. You must ask questions because you don't know. And in best case scenario, it is nothing, and the situation passes over. But on the other hand, you could help to kind of nip something in the bud sooner than later if you reach out and draw attention to it. So there's that.
Open up them bedroom doors. Max, you know, when we were growing up, I wish you would sit in that room with that door closed all day and your parent not know who you talking to, what's going on. We got to get back to some like fundamental parenting.
Parenting the right way, and again, staying tapped in, and that applies to the students too. Yes, having conversations with your kid about what are they thinking, what are they up to, who are their friends, you know, what y'all have in common, different things like that. All of those things are important, and I wouldn't tell any parent that it's good to give your kid a little bit of autonomy, a little bit of privacy.
Sure,
but you must be tapped in. You must be, because if you're not teaching and if you're not guiding, then someone else is, and chances are somebody their age who doesn't know any better, who ain't living any longer than them, that are making decisions and judgments based off of their own experiences or something somebody taught them that could be wayward. So you must stay tapped in. And then I know city schools should be kicking off with school resource officers. And I know there's some students and parents alike who are on edge because of that new change. Stay tapped in. You know, we hope for the best, and like I said, trust but verify. So stay tapped in, and I hope that everyone has a good school year.
And I'm going to call out one of our local school systems because they need to be called out. For a while, they've been known to just move bad staff around instead of reprimanding and eliminating bad staff.
Okay.
So even before we think about tragedy, right? We could talk about like just bad teacher that's not engaging children, and they put them in a school that they think it may be an easier student population for them, right?
Can we talk specifics though? We're talking about local school systems. We're talking about Albemarle County school system.
Yes.
These things have come out in the news, so it's not.
Yes. And so the issue there, I think, is what we find. And again, right, we're talking about frame of mind and like preparation. It's the philosophy behind it that unfortunately has now climaxed into a crime and a crime against children, which is the philosophy there is if you're not suited and fit for this job, or if you're just a bad apple, whatever the case is, we're not going to reprimand you or deal with that. We're just gonna try to ease the situation by putting you in a different space. You see what I'm saying about the philosophy? Whether you're a bad teacher or you a pedophile that's working with kids. Right? If the philosophy is we're going to just move you and not address your issue, which usually is going to be termination. If we're holding it by a standard that we hold most careers and most professional people, that's grounds for termination, undoubtedly. And then we're looking at it's grounds for criminal charges. And I think the philosophy where that got glossed over too much, of that we just gonna gloss these issues over, this one was too big to gloss over.
That's right. And it had to be, disclosed, and I'm glad that it did. A little too late, in my opinion, but I'm glad that the right folks were held accountable. And I would like to hope that this school system will now make better choices moving forward in the event of things like this occurring, and that others will learn from this, because these type of things should not be happening in our school system. We have to be swift to act on them if there's rumor of something like that happening. Evidence.
And I'm curious if folks who were against SROs are more inclined now.
Well, it's inevitable.
Yeah, do you feel like that adds safety? Like, do you, you know what I mean?
I do. Well, I've said from the very beginning, I support it in the sense that, we have these mass school shootings happening all across the country, and they are horrible. They're just horrible. And so, in my opinion, heaven forbid something like that happen here, but in the event that it does, having a sworn officer within school causes a swifter response to the situation, and in theory saves lives. And so that's why I am in support of it, and because times are changing. It used to be that those type of occurrences were few and far between and happening somewhere way out. But it just not here was the opinion. And now we know it's possible everywhere. And we have to be prepared for that. Because, what's the flip side of that is that it happens and we're not prepared, and we got an even bigger issue because we could have done something. And so that is why I am in support of it. And my hope is that those who are responsible for kind of the planning and implementation of these resource officers get it right. It is imperative that you get it right, okay? And so you want to instill trust within your community. You want your students to feel safe. You want them to not feel that a certain population within the schools to feel like these officers aren't there specifically for them, targeting them, making there to control them so that the others can get an education and enjoy their day. Get it right. Please get it right. Because if it goes wrong, it won't be the students' fault. It will not be the students' fault. It will be those adults and those individuals who are responsible for putting these people within our school system. Hey.
I don't know. I could get repetitive, but I think that we covered those bases. I feel like that we answered those questions.
Yeah. And I know that you touched on the Nolan Wells ordeal, and God knows I cannot imagine. I saw the pictures of Nolan on that boat, and I saw any one of my boys.
Right.
And because of where we live, and I've said before, I'm from Greene County, where we live, like my kids' friends are mostly white kids, and it's terrible for a person to feel like they have to choose their friends based on their race, and not be able to live free in that way. It's terrible to think that something like that would happen. It's terrible to think that people wouldn't speak up and say something, that wouldn't do the right thing. And all of this stuff that's to follow. I just hope and pray that this family gets answers, that the person responsible, the same way I called out the kid who did the stabbing at the track meet, you must face your consequences. And so my hope is that justice will be swift. They will find out who caused harm to this individual, and they get the consequences of that.
So I'm pro-black man to the fullest, but I must say though,
what does that mean? You telling your kids all black friend? What does that mean?
That's not what that means.
What's that mean?
I was actually gonna rebuttal to something that I heard you say.
Okay.
Like just to add like a little clarity to it, from the perspective of, deciding whether we should be picking friends based on race. As pro-black as I am, I would still say it is about the quality of the character first, right? Like the content of one's character, number one.
It ought to be.
And I think the way that we need to put that within frame is, if it was a black family and black friends that your child has,
okay,
and if you know that parents are doing drugs and they allow their kids to drink and do drugs, if you don't agree with that, you're probably gonna be like, nah, you can't go over there.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying?
You ought to.
All right. So now, on the flip side of that coin, it is just as reasonable, in my opinion, to be like, if there's, if it's white family, white friends, somebody ain't gonna like this, but it is what it is. If they are, in my opinion, humble opinion, if they are ultra conservative, right, and they riding with everything Trump agrees with, they want to deport black and brown people, so you shouldn't be here. My child ain't going over there.
I understand that.
And I know a lot of us go to church with people who believe that and feel like that they're our friends and stuff. I feel like that if you support this MAGA movement and you support people who want to demean and treat people of color as second-class citizens, why would I think you value my life?
Yeah. No.
So it's more about character, right?
Yeah.
Because there's some conservative black folks I don't want my kids around either. So same deal.
You can get it too.
yeah. I got smoke for everybody.
No, I completely agree with that, and I'll tell you that following, learning about Nolan, like called my kid, and I knew pretty much knew the answer, but I called at least one that I could get in touch with, one of my teenage boys, the 19-year-old, and I asked, how often are you the only one in your group? Isn't that freaking insane that you have to have that type of conversation?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want you to think about that if you're an individual who does not have to have that conversation with your kid. Like, I had to call mine and say, how often are you the only one?
Mm-hmm.
And he's a big burly guy, Marine, so he think he can take on the world. But the fact of the matter is, anything is possible. And so the response is that oftentimes he is the only one, and I knew the answer to that. But as a mom, it doesn't, it worries me. I'm sure, and it always will. But
that safety thing is a real thing, and because we see the cases like that, to where there's still cases of where people of color get unfairly treated in certain spaces, including the military. So you never know when somebody's gonna try to gang up on somebody or start bullying somebody and those kind of things. So those are things that we definitely got to be aware of, and just safety in general too. I just think about when your child leaves the door, you don't know what they're gonna be faced with. You don't know who's gonna influence what kind of decision. So that's why I said at the beginning, Max, and I'm gonna end it the same way. That's why we just gotta be prepared and stay hopeful, right?
Yep.
Can't live in fear. As hard as it is, you can't live in fear.
That's true.
I mean, that's a miserable
You
life.
can be smart. You gotta be stupid. Look. So
it's a miserable life to live in fear.
Yeah. So, and I'm always speaking up when I think they're doing something that it might be jeopardizing their safety. Like maybe you shouldn't go there. With So anyway, there's too much of that. But the moral of the story is, life is valuable, but be good parents, stay tapped in, and you're constantly giving guidance. Even when they become adults, you're constantly giving guidance, and so.
Yes, indeed.
Yep.
Is that good for Ask Max?
I hope so.
Trying to get people how to send in them Ask Max questions.
Well, they can hit us up on all the social media platforms if you have a question. If you want to chime into this conversation that we just had, we can talk about it more. Drop your comment on our Facebook page, any of the social media pages, and we'll talk about it.
And as we go to break, Miss Max, I want to shout out the Charlottesville area youth opportunities, because as you're listening to us, like I said, if you're at home, we appreciate you. If you're in your car, we appreciate you. Either way, you can go make a stop in our local listening area, because we're talking about the back to school bash is happening right now over at the Boys and Girls Club. We're talking about the back to school bash. There's one also happening at Fashion Square Mall. All right, you can go there.
Well, now what school systems are we talking about?
Oh, all of them. Like any kids in our listening area, no matter where you.
Fashion Square Mall. That is for.
That's sponsored by Albemarle County Public Schools.
Okay.
The Back to School Bash at Boys and Girls Club is sponsored by a collaborative of community organizations.
Okay.
Including 100 Black Men and other community partners, Mahogany and Friends, so on and so forth. Nelson County, I believe. No, this is Penn Park. It's over in Penn Park. So after those other two, after you leave the mall and you leave Boys and Girls Club, if you want some more stuff, right, you can go over to Penn Park from 4 to 8.
Okay.
That's the Local Heroes presents a back to school bash. Our friends over at Nostalgia, go holler at Coretta from 11 to 5.
Okay.
So a little longer than the other one, so y'all can stop by there before you go to Penn Park. Habitat for Humanity from 4 to 6. So you can go to Nostalgia and then Habitat for Humanity. This is Boys and Girls Club Southwood.
Okay.
So the Southwood location, y'all know, down off 5th Street Extended. They got one from 4 to 6. So if you ain't got what you need going back to school, I don't know who you're going to blame.
Well, I love that. I love the way that we're all pulling together to make sure our kids are straight. Just be equally as tapped in throughout the school year, because these kids are going to need somebody to support them, somebody to talk to, somebody to ask them how you doing, and do you need anything. So I would encourage all of us to do that. It's a community effort. All right, we'll be right back, in my humble opinion, after this.